All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started, ladies. Today we're going to be focusing on vocabulary. So we are leaning into vocabulary because Volume 2 of Letters is really focused on that side of the reading rope that really emphasizes your comprehension, your background knowledge, your vocabulary routine. So I was really amazed that research shows that once kids learn the alphabetic code, that vocabulary is the single most important factor that will account for their reading comprehension. So vocabulary, we don't want this tool to feel like something extra because obviously you teach vocabulary every day. You have plenty of words given to you in your curriculum. The purpose is looking at one of those words very intentionally. So hopefully, instead of feeling like something extra, it'll help you narrow down that one word that is really vital for understanding of the lesson for that day, the unit as a whole, and a vocab word that impacts their task, what they're doing at the end of that lesson. So just a couple of connections. I gave you the standard guides for RICS.4. That is your students determine the meaning of words and phrases in a text relevant to a grade 3 topic. And then we also have the foundational standard that we don't really look at as much in 3rd grade as we do in lower grades, those foundational standards. We naturally teach them, but we don't dig into those as much. But that one is determine or clarify the meaning of unknown and multiple meaning words and phrases based on grade 3 reading and content, choosing flexibly from a range of strategies. So we're really going to focus in on using the context that we have in a sentence or in a text to help us figure out that word. So that standard also addresses morphology. So when you think about what is morphology, you probably do this. It is embedded in the materials, but morphology is just the study of those word parts that carry meaning. And that supports kids because it's going to help them unlock new words because they're going to naturally start to notice prefixes and suffixes and the roots, the main meanings. And we do those common suffixes and prefixes, but there's tons of those. So when you think about why does morphology matter, you will start to see your kids find those chunks in words, and it helps them make those meanings of those words faster. It also will help them hopefully choose more precise words when they're writing. And then just grow in their vocabulary, because if you have one root word, that can unlock a lot of words. Of course, same with prefixes and suffixes. So as we move into an example of the routine itself, you'll see that one of the opportunities we look for when selecting a vocab word is whether it allows students opportunities to notice meaningful parts within that word. So I've got you the routine already. There's 5 steps. Again, I don't want you to look at this as she's giving me one more template, one more thing to do. This, of course, at first you have to kind of, learn the steps, but hopefully that will become very natural as you're looking at your lessons and you're seeing what vocabulary word stands out to you as vital to the understanding of that lesson. And then a lot of these steps you do anyway, okay? So just keep that in mind as we go through. This kind of just gives you a more seamless flow and focuses in on one vocabulary versus having to introduce 5 or 6. Not that you're not going to talk about those too, but we know the cognitive load of trying to take in 6 or 7 vocabulary words for one lesson is probably not going to be effective. So this just kind of narrows it down, keeps the kids focused, and hopefully allows them to really understand that word. So let's think about word choice, and I'm going to talk through that a little bit before I model my lesson. So when you're looking for a word, there's some things that you want to consider. They divide up words like Tier 1 words are going to be the words that most kids are going to know. Tier 3 are going to be those tough words that are very content. You might give them a brief definition, like the names of things, like even the Milky Way galaxy or something like that you'll see within my lesson. Those are not going to be ones that we have to know exactly what they mean. It's those Tier 2 words that we want to live with vocabulary, because those are the ones that They really need to know in the whole understanding of the unit because it matters to the lesson that day, but it also matters for the lesson as a whole. We also want to consider if they transfer across other areas. You know, can they use some of those prefixes and suffixes in other subjects? So also, do you see morphology opportunities? You know, and are there opportunities for connections beyond one lesson, which we're going to see especially with this astronomy unit. So selecting that right word just ensures that the routine is purposeful and it just maximizes its impact on student learning. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to model this routine for you, okay? What I have done is chosen the word galaxy. This is lesson 6 in the astronomy unit. The title of the unit, or this lesson, is Galaxies and Stars, okay? Now there were several vocab words that were listed, but when I looked at what I really thought they needed to know, Milky Way Galaxy was one, Andromeda Galaxy was another. Those are probably more tier 3, right? Astronomer, probably tier 1, could be tier 2, because I mean, you know, but with the course of this lesson, it seemed like galaxy was that main word that they needed to know. You'll also notice in your lessons that they do divide it up, but I'm not sure if that the way they tier 2 and tier 3 is the same as the letters approach. So I'm going to dig into that just a little bit more because they actually considered galaxy a tier 3. Okay, so if you'll just kind of look at your routine as we're going, and I'm just going to model this process for you. All right, and I'm just going in teacher mode, so I'm going to try not to do any teacher talk. We're just going to do this as you're my students. I'm the teacher. Say the word galaxy.
Galaxy.
Look at the word galaxy. Say it again.
Galaxy.
Let's determine how many syllables are in galaxy. So let's clap those out. Ready?
Galaxy.
How many syllables are in the word galaxy?
3.
Good. When we divide up the word galaxy into syllables, we would do so like this. And a quick note, if you do syllable types, would be a good opportunity to kind of pull those out as like that's a closed syllable, you know. But if that's a natural routine.
And that kind of relates back to the whole 95% that we use
Yes,
now
it does.
for
Yes, it does.
intervention.
All right, now we're going to count the sounds in the word galaxy. And I put this phoneme grapheme map up here. This is not a necessary step, but we want to break these this word apart into phonemes. So let's tap out the sounds in galaxy. So do that with me. G, A, U, K, S, E. How many did you count? It's tough, isn't it? G, A, U,
E. There's 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me show you. There's actually 6 because of this little tricky thing right here.
It got tricky.
Okay, now let's watch how we divide this up. So this represents the G sound. What does this box represent? A, U, A. Now, when you do the X, because X says X, X, you're going to put it right here because technically X has 2 phonemes. So, and then your last sound is E. Okay? Now, normally I might not do that part, but I did want to draw that out because of the X, because that's kind of different. Now, when you look at the spelling pattern in the word galaxy, what is that vowel sound you hear at the end?
E.
Very good. You hear the E sound. So, what part of speech is galaxy? Can you galaxy?
No.
What is galaxy? It is a noun. Very good. Galaxy is a thing. Now, when you look at the word galaxy, you can also make it plural by turning it to galaxies. So that means more than one. Galaxy. You can also turn the word galaxy into an adjective by making it galactic. Galactic. Say galactic.
Galactic.
Okay. Now, the word galactic can be derived from the word galaxy because when you add that IC, the ick, the word becomes an adjective. So now it's describing something that is related to a galaxy. So our solar system is part of a larger galactic system called the Milky Way. Galactic is an adjective describing system. So let's talk about where the word galaxy comes from. It actually comes from the Greek word galaxias, which comes from gala, which means milk. Now let's think, why is milk involved here? Because when the ancient observers would look at the sky, they noticed that the Milky Way galaxy looked pale, and it was like this milky band stretching across the sky. So let's define what galaxy means. Say, a galaxy
A galaxy
is a very large group of stars
is a very large group of stars
and space objects
and space objects
that are held together by gravity.
that are held together by gravity.
Now, space objects can be moons, planets, just all those asteroids, things like that. So I didn't want to list all of those, so we kind of put those all in that group. I've also got an image to just kind of show you a connection because that's going to come into play as we get through our lesson today and complete our astronomy unit. So you can see that galaxy is right in the middle. You see the arrows go down because the universe is larger than a galaxy, but a galaxy is larger than a solar system. So that shows you the connection between those two. So let's read this definition one more time. Read it with me, please. A galaxy is a very large group of stars and space objects that are held together by gravity. Very good. So our galaxy that our planet is in is the Milky Way galaxy. As I said before, a galaxy is going to be larger than a solar system. The universe contains many galaxies. Milky Way galaxy is not the only galaxy. We've already looked at that image to understand a little bit of the connection between universe, galaxy, and solar system. So now I want us to check our understanding a little bit of the word galaxy. So I want you to give me a thumbs up for yes, a thumbs down for no. Is a galaxy smaller than a planet? Very good. Does a galaxy contain stars? Very good. Is our solar system inside a galaxy? Good. Is the universe inside a galaxy? Can scientists observe galaxies from Earth? Very good. Now let's see if we can use the word galaxy in a sentence. So, partner A, you're going to tell partner B a sentence with the word galaxy. Now, when you do your sentence with the word galaxy, I want you to think about being sure you provide a clue within your sentence that helps your partner understand the meaning. So, for example, if I just said, I live in a galaxy, do you have any clues in that sentence as to the meaning? Okay, so I want you to really push yourself and try to come up with a sentence that helps your partner understand the meaning of the word galaxy. So partner A, go ahead and share your sentence with partner B. Okay. Partner B, if you hear clue words that help you know the meaning, that's what I'm going to ask you. So be ready. Go ahead and share now.
Astronauts travel through the galaxy in their space shuttle to learn about stars and planets.
Beth, do you mind to share your sentence?
Sure. Astronauts travel through the galaxy in their space shuttle to learn about stars and planets.
Very good. When we go back to our definition, what was a clue that helped us understand the meaning of the word galaxy?
Group of stars.
Okay. Didn't you use the word? Did you use the word space? Or
I did. I
Yeah.
used
So
space shuttle.
even space as well, right? Very good. So when you think about why we need to know the word galaxy, galaxy and stars is going to be the title of your chapter today. Galaxy is a text feature. It's a bold print word. So you're going to find that as you read. Either galaxy or galaxies, which is the plural version, is in your reader at least 30 times. Also, when you do your written task today, you're going to have to explain the relationship between galaxies, solar systems, and the universe. Okay. All right. So when you went through that routine, you noticed it was pretty quick.
It was.
It may not go as quick the first couple of times you do it, so you know how that is anytime anything is new. I've also noticed in planning that sometimes the steps overlap a little bit. You know, when you're given that student-friendly definition, I kind of eased into like those kind of overlap step 2 and 3 for me, because where I gave more examples, I went ahead and talked about the image. So it's not that it necessarily has to, be the stuck in stone 1 to 5 process. Obviously.
I love how it flowed right into the lesson. Like it
Yeah.
let it right off. It was a great introduction into the lesson.
Yeah.
And depending on the student's understanding, they may need it to overlap. or to be
Exactly.
repetitive.
Yes. And it, just that quick little yes no lets you know, are we getting the connection? And I tried to lean into those yes no questions being to what I'm going to expect them to do at the end, like making that connection. I made sure my image was kind of with that connection too. So when you think about choosing your word and looking at your lessons to choose a word, one thing I want to talk about before we kind of turn loose and do that is when you choose your word and you look at what is that task for today, and is there an opportunity to use that word? Because once I decided on galaxy, I wanted to see, yes, they're going to be reading about it, absolutely, because it was in the reader tons of times. So I can make them speak about it. So that one's kind of taken care of on its own. But how are they going to show their understanding in their task? So I pulled the activity page. This was the original task that was in the activity page, if y'all want to pass that around and look at that. The front was just some true or false, which is kind of like we did with the yes or no, because they were kind of related. But on the back, it says, what are some ways that stars can be different? And then 7 did say compare and contrast a solar system and a galaxy, which I liked, but I kind of wanted to push that a little further for the connection with universe, especially since we'd already, universe was my word from 1. And then solar system, I didn't look at those lessons, but they come up in like lessons 3 and 4. So I'm assuming that's going to be a focus. So I kind of wanted to push for a little bit stronger question there. So what I did is I just adjusted the back of it. I left what was on the front, and I just said on question 6 to push a little bit more to describe the relationship between the universe, a galaxy, and a solar system. Because them writing that one sentence is going to hit RIKID.3, which we know historically kids struggle with that one on standardized tests. And then I also just pushed on question 7. Instead of that, like where the original one had, like, what are some ways that stars can be different, to just push back to how does page 38 in the text help explain what a galaxy is. So pushing them to look for those clues on that page that help them understand, just to try to help kids be more natural at that process. So just real quick, I just changed those questions to try to match it to them really showing me they have an understanding of galaxy, but also going back universe and solar system as well.
So into lesson 1, because the very first lesson, obviously, it's informational, so it's that RIKID3, but it asks them how to connect, how certain events or describe how certain events are connected.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be a great starting point, and by the time we get to lesson 6, we should see
Mm-hmm.
some improvement on the vocabulary and how to use it, and if they actually do understand the meaning of the word. So
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah. So now what I want us to do, I want you to look at your upcoming lesson. This is going to be your opportunity to apply this. And remember, let's just go back and discuss real quick a couple of things about when we choose a word. The backward planning approach, of course, is always helpful. Looking at the task, look at what you expect them to do that day. I think sometimes y'all have more of a word work word. And so sometimes that might be the word you want to start with. See what you think about that. If it doesn't have as many, opportunities for morphology or whatever, maybe, keep looking. But then also look at those, like we said, you were just mentioning a second ago, like kind of ties it all together, you can make those connections and those relationships. And then of course that morphology. So let's talk to me a little bit about your lesson that you're going to be on, and any vocabulary words that you have considered.
So we had looked at, so the focus in that lesson is to introduce them to the solar system and then discuss in sequence the steps of a solar and a lunar eclipse.
Okay.
So that's kind of the primary focus for that lesson. And we had talked about different words. Some of the key words that is in the unit is atmosphere, axis, eclipse, hemisphere, and universe. And I feel like, eclipse is going to be important, and we discussed that. But before we hit on what an eclipse is, we need to discuss where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so we decided that the word universe would be a better way to start with the big picture and then bring it in.
Perfect. And universe has a good opportunity for morphology.
That was the other thing.
Too.
I felt like it was a good opportunity to break down.
Yes. Okay, so I want to just give you a minute to look at that routine, and you may already have some ideas that you have filled in, but just look at that routine and jot some things in, because in a couple of minutes I'm going to let you do some role play. So you'll have a partner A, partner B experience where you're going to practice just going through the routine. Is there a step that sticks out as that might feel the most unnatural?
I think when you have to break the sounds apart, because the X, usually, we're pretty good at that, and you get to the X, that did stump me, but I do recall us talking about it in letters training after you said that. I was like, oh, man. So I feel like that's a little unnatural to do.
Yes, and that is typically the response that third grade teachers say, because you don't spend as much time doing that. And the phoneme grapheme map that I pulled is not you don't have to do that piece. I did because of the X. Yeah. If there wouldn't have been an X, we might have just counted the sounds and moved on with that. So,
but the rest of it's great, and I like that you gave an explanation to them about the galactic and how to use it, because it ties into all of our parts of speech. You can see that you can use it in different forms, so that I'm comfortable with. I like that. And then changing the ending from singular to plural, because that is still a struggle.
Yes.
Even in this latter part of the year. So.
Yes. And the routine I don't even think it necessarily addresses that, but that's from experience. So a teacher that I met with yesterday, she had the word decline. The kids did an amazing job using that word and giving their reasons or whatever, but she said something I did not anticipate was they did not use it in the correct tense. So they were so focused on it's got to be the word decline. I can't make it declined. I can't make it declining. So she said now moving forward, and that's why I added that piece, because when they write, it may need the plural version. So it's okay. Yes, galaxy is the vocab word, but there's different forms of that word, and it's okay if we make it plural. I doubt they would use that word, but I just wanted to draw attention to the adjective, because words can change form. Because again, if I know those things and I see that word, I'll associate it back to a galaxy.
And that also goes with our spiral unit now, is because they're seeing that some words that they think is a noun is actually being used as an adjective.
Yeah.
We did something about a diamond spoon or something like that. Well, they thought diamond shovel. They thought that the diamond was a thing,
Mm-hmm.
when actually it was an adjective. So that's what we're in right now. So that also
Yeah.
goes for that.
So with the word universe, what connections do you think kids will make to that word?
A unicorn.
Yes,
That's a good one.
I saw this lesson too. So that a little girl did bring up a unicorn.
Maybe uniform, but that they may not. But unicorn definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
that would be one.
Maybe somebody that says unicycle.
They
Yeah,
did that
that was the first one
too.
that
So
popped in
that
my
was a
head.
good connection with uni versus bi because bicycle. So, yeah. Okay, so just take some time and kind of put some things in the routine. And I'm going to give you just an opportunity to practice. And we might want to just go step by step. Do y'all want to just like practice step one? Would that be easier to break it down like that?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Let's look here. I'm gonna have to hang this up, like as I do it for the first little bit to get in the habit.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even step one has just several pieces.
And having them say it over and over, that's I like that.
Mm-hmm. When we planned Universe too with this other group, one of the things that they did, and that was kind of what gave me the idea for that image, is she's taught third for a while, like you all have, and so she started with a big chart. Like she made something like that in a big chart, but didn't label solar system or galaxy yet, but just went ahead so they could see that the universe encompasses and that she could keep going back to throughout the unit.
I was looking up some stuff, and and I thought a really neat introduction, if I can find it in this mess I have going on with me. It was an activity where you kind of pretend you're putting the sun into a bag, and you're putting the stars into the bag, and you're putting, I wish I could find that sheet of paper. Oh, here it is. It's called the Everything Box, and you say, I'm putting in the earth, now the sun, all the stars, every planet, all the people, and even the air. And then, the box has everything that's holding the universe. So that was just, I thought that was kind of a neat thing. And then you can ask them, is there anything outside the universe? And the answer is no. So I feel like that's just kind of a good way to hook them, maybe.
Well, and even on that, is it the step that's kind of clarifying the meaning? Was it step 3, that where you kind of move into giving examples and saying more about it? That would be a really good spot too. Yeah.
But I liked that.
Yes, because when you anticipate misconceptions, what do you anticipate your kids to struggle with about universe?
Well, I think that they're going to not think about what's on Earth. They're just going to say stars and planets and comets, maybe, that they don't realize that it's everything.
It's other solar systems,
Yeah,
it's
all of
other
it.
galaxies, because it's hard to comprehend something that vast. Yeah. What about when you think of that backward planning? Has anything, when you look at the task for that day or what you're going to expect kids to do with the word universe, is there an opportunity for that to be addressed, or could we sneak that in?
I think we're going to have to sneak it in, because if you
Yeah.
look at lesson 1, it's got 2 things in it. It's just talking about what's the steps of a solar eclipse, what's the steps of a lunar eclipse, but it doesn't address what the universe is. So, and we actually were, when we talked about the word, we actually were talking about that we would have to incorporate something in. Maybe we can create something to...
On the back of page 1.3, that bottom question, does it just say what is a solar system? So when we looked at that question, we went a couple of different directions. We first said we could just say use the word universe, like when defining that. But then we thought, could we push that a little bit further? Could we have them compare or contrast them? But then it was like, well, it's lesson 1. They may not have enough background knowledge yet to do that, right? But could they make the connection between a solar system and a universe? So that is what we did in that planning session, is just looked at that question and just said, you know, and you could even leave what is a solar system and then just add after it, what is the connection or the relationship between a solar system and the
I
universe,
think that'd be
just
good,
to
'cause if you have
push.
what is the solar system, what is the universe, and then that way they've got both of their pieces there and they can look at it.
And then
and
describe
try
the
to decide it, how to
connection.
break it
Yeah.
apart, or how to put it together.
Yeah. So that is a thought for sure. Okay, so
I like that.
we're gonna wrap up. Are there any questions or anything that I can help support you with before you try to roll this out with your kiddos?
No, I think this is, we just need a picture of this. So
And
we
it
can
doesn't
kind of
have,
look
you don't
as an
have to write them on
example.
sentence strips. You can
Yeah.
write them every day. You can
No.
write them on your board. You know, I just did that so I could type up and not write. But
If you did this, though, you could put it around the room for when you have it for the whole unit, for
That's
them
true.
to go back to remember, because they
Yep.
forget sometimes the words. Some of them do.
that is
what
true.
they mean.
Yep.
Yeah, that idea. It saves time too,
Yeah.
just to have it already done.
And with a picture, pictures help a whole lot with it.
They do. They do. Yeah. So what we'll do, you'll teach this routine with your word, and then whatever you all determine, if you want to do that question and just kind of, you know, change it just a little bit to push for the use of the word universe, that'll be what we'll come back together and analyze, like just that question, because you can learn a lot from that one question. So that's what I'll have you guys bring back for student work analysis.
Thank you very much for this.
Thank you.
Yeah.